what you're asking for. Stop stepping on my Constitution, the one our soldiers are fighting for. They came along with all this hope and change, but now America may never be the same. I want my country back the way it used to be, when the most important things in life was faith and family, when nation under God, indivisible liberty, when the only thing that mattered was the truth that set you free. I want my country back. Yeah, I want my country back. Too much political correctness, just trying to change who we are, somehow intended to protect us, but now it's going way too far. They sit around and occupy the streets, while the rest of us work hard to make ends meet. I want my country back the way it used to be, when the most important things in life was faith and family, when nation under God, indivisible liberty, when the only thing that mattered was the truth that set you free. I want my country back. Yeah, I want my country back. They don't want fences on the border, but they got their fences in their yards. No, they don't want to talk to strangers. No, they don't want to work that hard. I want my country back the way it used to be, when the most important things in life was faith and family, when nation under God, indivisible liberty, when the only thing that mattered was the truth that set you free. I want my country back the way it used to be, when the most important thing in life was faith and family, when nation under God, indivisible liberty, when the only thing that mattered was the truth that set you free. I want my country back. Yeah, I want my country back.
And good morning. You're tuned into the Blackdog Morning Show on WAAK 94.7 FM in Ringgold. And as soon as this fog and this rain clears away, we're going to have a nice day today. Might be a little chilly out, but nice day. Anyway, want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning, and it's going to be a good week. Today at 8 o'clock this morning, we've got a special guest. Arnold Connelly will be joining us, and we'll be talking to him about his music and what got him started. All the usual things that we always ask everybody. So we'll be talking to him at the 8 o'clock hour, so make sure that you're tuned in. And if you want to be part of the show, if you've got a request, complaint, comment, give us a call, 706-935-2890, or go to my Facebook page, Blackdog Morning Show, or my personal page, Phil Kranz, PhilKranz. And if you want to listen to the show, but you can't listen to the radio, we have you covered. WAAKradio.com to listen live on your computer, or Google Simple Radio app. Type in WAAK and you can listen live on your smartphone or your tablet. So no excuse and no reason for you not to be listening. And we've got an exciting day planned for you this morning. And just remember, if you like what you hear, go to my page, like the songs, because the more likes each song gets, that guarantees the song continues to get played. So, and it also means that you're actually paying attention. So if you're not paying attention, you don't chime in on the songs, then you can't blame, you have nobody to blame but yourself. If a song you really like doesn't get played, you are the one who determines what songs get played. How's that sound? We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we should have Arnold Connelly on the line with us. You know, today's his birthday, so make sure when he comes on, make sure to let him know that it's his birthday. Wish him a happy birthday, because, you know, his day can only get better from here, since the first thing he's doing is talking to me, so... Yeah, I would say you might want to actually contact him and wish him a happy birthday. Maybe condolences for being on here in the morning. It's just a little joke. Anyway, what do you say we start out with one of his songs, Arnold Connelly, The Cowboy Dance, and when that one's over, we'll have him on the air. So don't go away. Arnold Connelly, The Cowboy Dance, Blackdog Morning Show, WAAK 94.7 FM in Ringgold, and, you know, it feels like fall here this morning. It's only supposed to get up to a high of 66 today, but fear not, by the end of the week, it'll be in the mid to upper 70s, so yes, summer is still trying to hang on. So, a couple days a little chilly that you got to wear a jacket. That's okay. I can deal with it.
Come on, everybody, get on the floor. Come on, everybody, get on the floor. Shake what mama gave you and shake it low. Come on, everybody, get on the floor. Come on, everybody, get on the floor. Shake what mama gave you and shake it low. You know you want it, you know you need it. Come and get it. You know you want it, you know you need it. Come and get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shake it, little baby, and shake it great. Shake it, little baby, and shake it great. You know you want it, you know you need it. Come and get it. You know you want it, you know you know you need it, come and get it.
Yeah, that was Arnold Connelly, the Cowboy Dance. And, you know, that song gets stuck in my head, and all day long, all I'm doing is humming that thing in my head. So thank you very much, Arnold. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, Phil. Thank you for inviting me onto your show this morning, the Blackdog Morning Show on 94.7 FM out of Ringgold, Georgia. Thank you so much.
You know, you could have a job doing this. You've got a good radio voice.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Something you may not know, I lived in Georgia for 10 years, so I'm familiar with the area down there, and I grew up in Kentucky, so I traveled back and forth between Georgia and Kentucky, and always traveled through, Chattanooga in that area, so it's kind of like talking to a friend from home, so.
Well, there you go, and, you know, next time you pass through here, you're going to have to stop by. I'll hijack you, bring you up into the studio, tie you to the chair, and force you to serenade us. How's that sound?
Well, that sounds wonderful. I would love to, be part of your show down there live, and I've got a lot of friends down that area, and visit a lot of friends, and just enjoy Georgia. I was almost a Georgian for a little while, but I'm a Kentuckian, living up in New Jersey now.
How do you go from Georgia to Kentucky to New Jersey?
Well, it's kind of my background. What I do in my day job is I'm a miner. I started in the coal industry in Southern Illinois, and I graduated from the University of Kentucky in 1994 as a mining engineer and worked deep mines from 92 to 96, and I worked in eastern Kentucky, East Tennessee, just north of Knoxville, Tennessee, and eastern Kentucky around Hazard and Hyden, and then I got in the rock industry in Atlanta in 1996, and that's where I lived down there until 2006, and worked at Forest Park, Tyrone, outside Peachtree City, Columbus, Georgia, spent a year in Auburn, Alabama, transferred back to Kentucky and Illinois, and then my company was bought out. Baggett's company was bought out by another company. I had lost my job, knew the VP up here where I'm currently at with another aggregates company in New Jersey, and he wouldn't shut up until I took the job. Long story short, he called me every single day, and he said, Arnold, he said, there's hillbillies, rednecks up here in Jersey, too, and of course I didn't believe him. I didn't know anybody in Jersey, I didn't want to go across the Mason-Dixon line, I said, I don't know anybody up there, Bill, his name's Bill, and he called me up. He said, oh, get up here. So he brought my wife up here, and he showed me around for 2 or 3 days. And lo and behold, I took a job up here in New Jersey, and I'm a general manager of a building materials company here in Jersey and New York. So that's how I got here, long story short. But I've been all over the place.
You could give an Army brat a run for their money with all the places you've been.
Well, I haven't thought about that. I'm not a worldwide traveler, though. I've been to Canada, I think, once or twice, and that's been about it. So, but east of Mississippi, yeah, I was born in Dearborn, Michigan, and you know how it is. People from the South went to the car factories to work, and my daddy was a truck driver, and he passed away when I was 6 years old. And when he passed, Mom brought us back to Kentucky, where I grew up, western Kentucky, around Benton and Paducah area. That's where I grew up, right between the lakes, and Calvert City and Benton and Fair Dealing and everything. And then I was the first in my family to graduate from. My sister went to college first at Kentucky, and she inspired me, but she didn't finish. So I went on to school and got my mining engineering degree, and I didn't know anybody in the business. I'm not a coal miner. Nobody in my family coal mines or rock mines, but I grew up kind of hard. And at 15, my stepfather passed, and I was the oldest, and you had to make do. I mean, I know what it's like to have nothing, and I know what it's like to work up and be successful, and I'm grateful and thankful for that. And I met my wife there my first week of college, and she's from southeast Kentucky, and we've been married 23 years, September 17th, and we have 2 daughters, one that's 19 and one that's 17, and one's in college now, and the other one's a junior. And I'm just grateful and thankful to now begin this music journey, and there's a heck of a story behind that as well. So just grateful and thankful. God blessed me. He's had his hand on my life and got leading God and directing me. And life is hard, but you make the best of it. You persevere and have a good attitude and keep knocking those doors open for you. And I'm a living example of that. I'm living the American dream. I mean, when my father had passed when I was 6 years old and Mom moved us to Kentucky, it was real hard. we bounced around. We had like a little family farm, my grandmother did, and she lived in a 3-room house. And believe it or not, I still know what the outhouse is like. I mean, my grandmother had one, and when I was a kid, they actually had to bring water to the house in a water truck. So I remember those days, and and I lived in a trailer for a little bit, which is a great living. I wrote a song about it, single wide trailer, exactly about that. Growing up in an area there, and I have a wonderful family that loves me unconditionally, and I'm grateful for that. I just really am, and I'm grateful to be working for an aggregate company that supports me. And the music thing is just another part of my life now that I'm pursuing. I've worked hard my whole life and supported my family and was right, but now I think it's time for Arnold to step up. And I've been writing songs since I was a kid, and I've been listening to music my whole life and enjoying music. But it's hard to make. You don't make any music money in the music business. I mean, very few people make it. So you got to have another income, and so that's what I've been doing. So my day job, I mine rock. I'm Fred Flintstone, and at night I play music. That's what I do.
Well, now that you've just answered every question I was about to ask you, I guess the interview's done. It was great talking to you, and hey, have a great day. No, just kidding.
I'm sorry, man.
I never had anybody answer every question I was going to ask them. You've been paying attention, haven't you? You've been listening to other interviews, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to end this real quick. I'm just going to give him every answer to every question I think he's going to ask me in the first 5 minutes, and this way I can go and I can start my day.
Absolutely not.
So, yeah. Well, you were talking about rednecks and hillbillies up in New Jersey, and I can tell you, I came out from outside of Chicago, and there are more rednecks and more hillbillies in Chicago than there are down here. I can attest to that because I was friends with them all. And yeah, and we can make the rednecks and the hillbillies down here cry, I guarantee it. What's funny is all of a sudden there's been a rash of country artists coming out of the hotbed of country music, New Jersey and New York, which, go figure.
Right.
Why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think all of a sudden New Jersey is becoming a place for country music?
Well, I tell you, I live in northwest New Jersey and Washington, New Jersey, which is in Warren County, and it's really horse country and farms and this, that, and the other. And it's not what people think up here. I mean, I've been here 8 years, going on 9 years now, and I love it. People really want that traditional country sound, and they have the values in that area that we embrace as a nation. And I think that people are looking for just a fresh way of doing things, and hearing this new music or this music that that we grew up on. And New Jersey, they have a lot of people that come up here to work. People like my neighborhood, believe it or not, a lot of them most people in my neighborhood aren't from New Jersey. They're from Kentucky. They got one guy from West Virginia. The guy owns the bowling alley, Rob, he's from Kentucky. There's a lot of Southerners in the north, and I don't know if the people that's coming out of Jersey or these other places, hotbeds, are actually born and raised here. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of people here who love country music, and in my area, there's not really there's a few country stations, but they're far and few in between. And I can see this, I can see it growing. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I think it's great that people from all over the country are beginning to embrace traditional country music and get away from what Nashville is trying to force down everyone's throat. And you're in New Jersey, you work in the coal mines, and I mean, you guys have had, for the last 8 years or so, you guys have really been hurting. It's been an uphill battle for you for the last 8 years in the coal industry. Well,
now Phil, don't misunderstand me now. I worked in coal my early part of my career. I'm in the rock business now, which is asphalt and road building and that kind of thing. So I crush rock for a living, but I worked in coal. And you're absolutely right about what you said, though. I have a lot of friends in the coal industry, and I'll be honest with you, the reason why I got out of coal, I saw this coming. I mean, I was having a hard time back in the 90s, and I said, I'm not going to live my life like this. And so I reached out to my college there, and they hooked me up with a company in Atlanta, and actually it's based out of Jacksonville, Florida, and then that's how I got to Atlanta. Is I started the rock business. I didn't know anybody. I'd worked from the ground up. I was shoveler, greaser, built crushers, screens, splice belts, run a loader, haul truck. I'm certified in quality control in Georgia, and so yeah, you're right about the coal business. It's hard. Even the aggregate business is a hard business. There's a lot of regulations, and we don't have the best image in the world, and we're trying to change all that. We are good people, and we actually make something. I mean, when you drive on that road today, when you go outside, that's what I do. We manufacture asphalt and crush the stone, and it provides a good living for myself and my family and many others. Caterpillar and Komatsu and all these dealers and heavy equipment. That's all mining related. It's either got to be mined or farmed. And I'm a miner, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud. I love mining, but music is my passion, and so I'm kind of doing both right now, and I'm fortunate to do so.
So you grew up you moved from Kentucky, Georgia, New Jersey, so you've been all over the place. And where did you cut your teeth doing music?
Well, music, I guess it started early in my life. I was probably 3, 4, 5 years old. In my house, you had, people like Don Williams, Charlie Pride, Ernest Tubb, Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, George Jones, Merle Haggard, all the greats. My favorite being Conway Twitty. And so I started singing, I guess. I was probably 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. I'd enter talent contests, when I'd win, and I did it in elementary school, and then in junior high, I took trumpet, junior high and high school. Spent a semester in college on the trumpet, but I met my wife, and I was having too good of a time, and my grades weren't the greatest, so I had to stop. Get out of engineering school. Engineering school is very hard. So I did that, and then, I did the mining thing, and then the first time I actually tried to write or do a song, I guess it was in high school. I wrote a little bit, but I didn't play the guitar back then. But after I got out of college, I bought a keyboard, and I went and bought me a guitar down at Corbin, Kentucky. It was a little pawn shop, an Epiphone guitar for $100. And I bought a chord book, and my stepfather at the time taught me a few chords. And I started playing and strumming, and believe it or not, some of those early songs are on YouTube. I mean, you can kind of see how I progressed in my career, my music career. So I got mine, coal, or rock, and then I would come home and write a song and hang out, and I did that. And so I did that, and then, I started writing a lot. Once I got a little bit older, I started writing a whole bunch, and I guess I made a comment on Facebook on February of this year about wanting to make a record in Nashville. And I got a friend of mine, her name's Denise Spotty, back home in Benton, Kentucky. And she said, Arnold, I met her at church, Hamlet Baptist Church back home. And I sang in a church, too. I'd lead the church, I'd lead singing and stuff like that. And so she said, Arnold, I got a friend in the music business, and her name is LaDonna Brewer Capps in Nashville. And LaDonna happened to be on Facebook at that time, and she popped up on there, and she saw and gave me a call. And so I did, and we talked, and she said, well, who are your influences? And I kind of told her, like I just told you, who some of my favorites were. And I said, but Conway Twitty is my favorite. And she said, Arnold, it's funny you say that. She said, Joni Twitty and I kind of grew up together. And I about fell out. I about dropped the phone. I said, are you kidding me? She said, no. She said, Joni and Twitty and I are friends and everything. And she said, well, how can I help you? And I said, well, Donna, I really don't know anything about the music business. I really don't even, Phyllis is new to me talking to you. I mean, I don't know anything about the music business, kind of like the coal mining and rock mining business. But I'm looking to have some fun and then start living my dreams and everything. And she said, well, if you want to record, let me know. And, I'll try to see what I can do for you. I said, okay. So I guess it was July. That's my first week of July. I was going home to Western Kentucky. I have a house there on Kentucky Lake there in Benton. It's about 2 hours from Nashville. My mama lives there and everything. So I was going home, and I called LaDonna, and she reached out to Barry Wayne, who's the producer and engineer at Tone Singer Recording Studios. It's right outside of Opryland there, which I didn't know that at the time. I just knew it was a studio in Nashville. And I spoke to Barry, and he said, he asked me what I was going to do, and at first I was going to do one song, and it's a song I wrote called "I See You," and I just wrote that in May of this year. And that song is about my daughter who just graduated high school, because I see her as a little baby. I don't see her as a lady, and a grown-up now. I still see her on a swing and all, and it kind of touched me. So I was going to do that song. He said, why don't you just go ahead and, I'll work with you. How about doing a 5-song, what they call a 5-song EP? And, I talked to my wife about it, because it costs a little bit to do this. I mean, this ain't something that, is free, you know what I'm saying? And so I said, oh, yeah, let's do it. So I looked at it like that. I was going to buy me a small John boat this year. Instead, I worked on albums. So I went to Nashville on July 5th, and basically that day was such a beautiful day. I left early in the morning, Western Kentucky, with my mama and my wife. And for my fans out there, you can check this out on my YouTube page. I've got a kind of a documentary that I did of that day of the 5 songs, and it shows my mom and my wife and everything. But so I get down there, I guess it's probably about 9:30, pouring rain. I meet Barry Wayne. Barry Wayne's a great guy. Barry Wayne has, I think he has 6 #1 gospel hits. And LaDonna, I didn't know this, but LaDonna set me up with the A-Team in Nashville. The people that was mentioned here are just wonderful people, and they are well-known and some of the best musicians a guy like me could ever ask for. But before I went to Nashville, I just want to mention that I do play in a local band up here in New Jersey called Fire on the Wire. And when I was talking to the guys about going to record down there, they said that they didn't want to go. And I tried to get them to go. They didn't want to go. I said, okay, well, I'm going to record. This is a dream of mine. I'm going to do this. I'll do 4 of the songs that we don't play out, and 1 of the songs that I do play out, which is Single Wide Trailer. We play that out some. And the guys, Mark Danovic, Charles Wilson, and Tom Kopsko are the band members of Fire on the Wire. So anyway, back to the Nashville day. So I get down there around 10 o'clock, I guess, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and the musicians start coming in. And I meet Tim Atwood, who's the piano player on this album. And Tim is just won a big award in Nashville for Musician of the Year, and I think he was up Entertainer of the Year of one of the local organizations down there, which is wonderful. He's also, he plays all over. He has his own shows. Ronnie McDowell's son, Ronnie McDowell Jr., is the drummer on this. It's a funny thing. I had bought a print from Ronnie McDowell. I had actually reached out to Joni Twitty to see, because it's got Conway's picture on it, the image of me. And I had a friend of mine who didn't much care for Conway Twitty, and once I found his friend's mom didn't much care for Conway Twitty. Once I found that out, I was going to play a joke on it on Mother's Day, and so I bought a Conway Twitty print. I asked Joni if she would sign it personally to her, and Joni, played along with me, which I thought was funny. And then, of course, I got one in my living room as well. But anyway, so Tim is a big known artist, and then Johnny McDowell Jr.'s son is playing, or Ronnie McDowell Jr., which is Ronnie McDowell's son, is the drummer on the CD. Then Eugene Moles is the lead guitar. Eugene played with Merle Haggard. And then you got Eddie Lang, who's the steel guitar, which is the best steel guitar on this side of the world. And I'm not sure all the stars he played with, but I'm sure he's played with many. And the bass player, Anthony Valentine, and then as well. And then you got Barry Wayne, which, again, he's already accomplished musician, #1 gospel hits. And then my agent and promoter, LaDonna Brewer Capps, she hooked all this up, and I owe a lot of gratitude to her. She does all the background vocals on the CD. So we play, Phil, from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So we'd come in, and I had my music and the chord changes and everything. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. So we would read it and look at it, and then listen to it on YouTube, and then we would talk about it and how we wanted it to go, in the studio professionally. And we'd go in there and do it. And the first song that we played, the very first song that I played professionally in the studio or sang professionally, was Saying Goodbye. And that was an awesome thing. Saying Goodbye is a song that I wrote for I wrote it for my wife. My mother-in-law passed in March of this year, and it was kind of unexpected. She was 65 years old, and she had heart valve replaced, and long story short, it malfunctioned, And that song is basically saying, through my wife's eyes, saying goodbye to her mom as her mom was, passing. And we were fortunate enough to go down the weekend prior to that and spend some time with her mom, and her mom was doing well, and I thought she's going to be fine. And then Monday morning, I'm in West Nyack, New York, and my wife calls me crying and saying, Mom's heart stopped 4 times, and, what are you going to do? So my wife flew home to Kentucky, and I had my 2 daughters and myself, and I stayed up here. And while she was gone for that week or so, I wrote that song, Saying Goodbye. And, so that's the lineup of musicians that we had. And we played 10 to 2, and then when I got done doing the first part that we laid the tracks on, those guys left. And then from like 2 to 4, I went to get lunch. I come back, and then Barry Wayne says, "Now, Arnold, you got to go back and sing these songs again." So I said, "Oh, wow." So I sing from like 4 in the evening to like, I don't know, 6, 8 o'clock at night, and, he would coach me. He wouldn't tell me exactly what to do, but he would coach me on things. And he said, "Now, Arnold, you can do what you want to do." He said, "But I suggest you do it this way." And, I'm thinking, Phil, who am I? I mean, this guy's got 6 #1 hits. I'm going to listen to the guy. I don't know anything about. Again, I'm a baby in the business. I'm learning, and so went back in there and I done it. And then LaDonna comes in there. I think she's about 8 o'clock at night. LaDonna comes in. She don't start singing back up to like 10 o'clock at night, and she sings from like 10 to midnight, 12:30 or something like that. And long story short, we finish up at 12:40 in the morning. My wife is not happy with me because she's been there all day long. I had no idea it was going to take all day. I mean, I did 5 songs. I said, 3 hours, we'll be done, and the studio gone. But, that goes to show you what I know about music, about recording. I didn't know anything about recording. And this is kind of funny, I think. It's the beauty of it. It's the journey. And so we get home at 3:30 in the morning, and, what a story to tell. And my mom's real happy about it, though. And of course, Barry took the time. He had to mix everything up. And then a week later, he sent me the mix, emailed me the mix, and it's just beautiful. And I got everything on the CD, and we released it on July 28th. And it's a beautiful, man. It's a beautiful CD. And I'm really proud of the work that Barry Wayne with Tone Singer Recording Studio did, and the musicians, and Madonna with Summer Sky Music Group. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people to work with. How fortunate and blessed I truly am to work with these kind of people. When I was an absolute complete stranger, and I felt really intimidated when I first went out. I thought, man, I'm very humbled, I guess I should say, hanging around this kind of greatness. And Phil, if you could have been there and heard that first note, I knew right then it was magic. I mean, I can't explain it. It was just absolute magic. There was something special about that day, and I'm just thankful for it.
Well, you definitely surrounded yourself with the A-team when you went out there. I mean, Tim Atwood, Ronnie McDowell Jr. Funny story about Ronnie McDowell Jr., about his dad. Because back in the 70s, when his dad was just starting out and he was out there on tour, he was at this one place up outside of Chicago, and one of my friends and I, we went up there to this place, Cinderella Rockefeller, up in Palatine, Illinois. And Ronnie McDowell was performing there, and my friend and I, we were in there, and we were heckling him the entire night, just making his life miserable. And during one of his breaks, he came up to us, and he said, "You guys are having a real good time, aren't you?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're actually having fun." And he said, "You're having fun, making my life miserable when I'm up there?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, after the show, how about you and your friend, if you got nothing going on after the show, you want to go get something to eat and something to drink with us, you're more than welcome." So we went and we hung out with them for the night. And I got to tell you, there's not too many people out there who, after you make their life a living hell while they're up on stage, invite you to go and hang out with them at the end of the night. And I mean, it just proves what kind of character he had. And I'm sure his son, he instilled the same character and the same values into his son, because I've heard nothing but great things about Junior. And
he, my mom just loved. I think she got a crush on Ronnie McDowell Jr. And my mom's 73 and she's single, so watch out right now. But I think Ronnie's married, so I don't guess that's gonna work.
And LaDonna, if it wasn't for her, I never would have met you, because she's the one who contacted me and told me, "Hey, you got to hear this guy."
Wow. Well, LaDonna is a wonderful person, and she wrote Conway Twitty's "I'm So Tired of Being Something That Means Nothing to You." I think it's a song that she wrote for him, and I think Merle Haggard cut that song as well. And and she's written some other songs. She's got some other artists. Allie Peyton Knight, that's a Summer Sky Music Group. She wrote a song for her, I think, called Yo-Yo. That's be coming out here pretty soon. And Derek Brantley, he's a friend of mine. He's recorded at Tone Singer Recording Studio, and then those are two great artists that she supported. And LaDonna's just good people. I mean, I'm grateful to be part of that. And then through your show, I've met Robbie Ansley.
Yep.
He and I have gotten to be friends, and his music is great, and it's great to hook up with other artists, independent artists that's out there and working, and I was hearing their music. I was listening to your song a while ago. You had the American Cowboy by Rich Price, who was on there, and it kind of reminded me of myself. Talking about trucking and the way that people working in factories. That's kind of how we are. In the country music business, we're just common people enjoying life, loving America, loving country music.
It's a tough life being an independent country artist because you don't have the backing of the studio. So when you go in to record a song or record an album, the one thing a lot of people don't understand is when you go in, all that money, and it takes a lot of money. I mean, it's not cheap to go and record an album, but all that money comes out of your pocket. And you cut an album or you go on tour, and I'm sure people ask you all the time when you're out performing, how big is your house? How many cars do you have? Do you have your own private plane? And I'm sure you get asked that, and then when they see you've got a CD, then they really think it, because then they think, wow, he's really big time because he's got a CD out there, and they don't understand that all that money for that CD, that all came out of your pocket. And you alluded to that just a little bit ago when you said you don't get the toys that you want to get. You don't go on the vacations. You don't get the big house. You don't get the fancy cars, because all the extra money that you've got is all going towards your music, which is your passion. And I mean, it's a big gamble because it's a great unknown. You don't know whether it's going to work, whether it's not going to work, but yet you've got to have the backing of your family. I mean, your family has to support everything that you're doing, otherwise it's not going to work. And
you're absolutely right, Phil. You're absolutely right. And it's funny you say that because I just did this record and I want to finish it up. I did 5 songs, and my wife says, "Well, you got to sell some records first." She's my bean counter and keeps me in line. And you're right about the stuff that I've acquired in my life has not been through music. It's been through mining and working up in the mining industry, and music is my passion, and it does cost a lot of money. And LaDonna, the Summer Sky Music Group, she's helping direct me now and polishing me up, and she's representing me and my promoter, and but as far as going out and doing things, yeah, you're right. I'll be lucky to break even most of the time we're out playing, but I'm having fun with it, and I'm very passionate, and who knows, if it does well, fine. If it doesn't do well, fine. I'm living a dream, and hopefully help. What I really want to get out of the whole deal is today is my birthday, as you mentioned. I'm 45 years old, and I'm middle life. I went back to school a couple of years, and I got my master's in business, so I have an MBA from Centenary University and an engineering degree from Kentucky. And I figured, well, if I can go back to school, I run one of the biggest rock quarries in the country up in New Jersey for a while there. And if I could do that and run a big quarry, surely after graduating, I can go and do the music thing. And so I'm hoping to inspire people that you should never quit learning. You should go for your dreams. I always say dream and dream big and go for it. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail. And I'm a perfect example of that. I mean, I didn't have a record until July 5th of this year. And it wasn't released until July 28th, 1st August. So here it is, a couple months later, and I'm speaking to you on the radio station, and I'm very grateful for that. And so hopefully I can inspire some other people to go for it,
Well, that's the main thing, and it's like you said, it's a passion, and it's like I always say at the beginning of all the shows, you guys, you're the ones that will load up a van, drive 3 hours to do a 45-minute show, pack the van back up, drive another 3 hours back home, and if you made enough to break even, it was a success. But somebody pats you on the back at the end of the show and says, hey, that was great. It's all worthwhile. I mean, you're not doing it for the fame or the fortune, because fame is fleeting. And Lord knows there is no money in this business. If you're not doing it because it's your passion, it's never going to work, because I've spoken to people out there who they think that they're going to cut an album. And see, I keep dating myself calling them albums instead of CDs, but you know, I'm old, okay, really. But there's people out there who will go out there, they'll cut an album, and they think that 6 months after they cut the album, they're going to have the big house on the hill and the Ferrari and the Corvette in the driveway. And when it doesn't materialize, you know, and they'll go out and they'll order, you know, 1,000 copies. They'll press 1,000 copies of their album. And they contact me and they'll tell me, hey, I just cut a CD. I've got 1,000 copies. I'm like, that's nice. And 6 months later, they'll call me up and they'll say, hey, any idea how I can get rid of these CDs? And I'm like, how many do you still have? And they got 980. I'm like, you got T-shirts? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, give a CD away with every T-shirt. Oh, I can't do that. They cost me money. I'm like, well, then I hope you have a need for a lot of coasters out there, because yeah, you're gonna give them out for Christmas presents.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. Tom Kopko, the rhythm player and backup singer for Fire and the Wire, my band here in Jersey, he said he uses them for frisbees. You know,
target practice. They all work really well. You know, they make nice decorations to hang on your tree also at Christmas, because you know the light just hits them right, and you know it's nice. But you got to have something to do with them. But you know, unfortunately, there's so many people that get into the business thinking that it's a quick buck, and they don't understand they call it the music business because it's a business.
Right.
And there's two sides to the business that you know. I mean, you got the fun side, which is writing the music and performing it, and then the not so much fun side, which is actually trying to get people to listen to your music and sell your CDs, and that's the hard part. I mean, that's a full-time job just in itself.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I think selling, of course, I haven't sold too many CDs yet. I've sold a few, but not too many. I think the key is touching people's hearts and relating to those people and getting to love you to the point they want to buy something. You know, get somebody to hit that buy button is a big deal, and you got to be able to sell. So where I'm at in my career now is, you know, I've got a good 5-song EP. I'm really proud of it. If I can't sell that, I can't sell records, period, because that is traditional country music at its finest. And it's well-written songs. I wrote all the songs on there, and I'm very proud of it. And I agree with you. You know, it's a business. And fortunately, I do run a business, you know, in the aggregate side of things, you know. So I know something about, you know, sales and, you know, production and, you know, making budget and that kind of thing. And, you know, I'm in this thing for the long haul. It's my passion. I've done it my whole life. And like I say, if it works out fine, if it doesn't work out fine, I've got a successful career in mining, and I believe it. I believe it will do well. But you know, I'm not looking for the Ferraris and the big houses on the hill and all that stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I've already accomplished most of my dreams. I mean, I've got a beautiful wife and a beautiful family, and you know, I've got food on the table and a roof over my head, and I can pay my bills, and I live in the freest, wonderful country in the world, and you know, I'm free to worship and do pretty much anything I'd like to do, and I'm very grateful for that. So, I mean, I've already lived my dream. This is just icing on the cake for me, Phil, and I'm so grateful and thankful.
You know, one of the things that when people ask me what kind of music I play, and I always tell everybody I play independent country. And I get people who will look at me and say, oh, so you don't play real music. I'm like, huh? And they're like, well, you don't play real music. You don't play music that's played on the radio. And I tell them, well, I play it on the radio, and they're like, no, but I mean, you don't play the real music like they play on mainstream radio. And I'm like, so it's not real music. And they say, well, no. I'm like, so tell the guy who just spent $10,000 on his CD that it's not real music.
Right.
And then I always tell them, independent country, all it is, it's independent. They're not signed by major labels, which is a good thing because, 90% of the people out there, they dream of getting signed by a major label, and 90% of the people signed by a major label dream that they can get out of their contracts.
Yeah, that's what I like about the music that's on that. I wasn't told what to play or how to play it, or that's up to me. I like to be in control of my music. I like to be in control of what I'm going to sing and what I'm going to write. And I don't. To me, this is my number one rule. If I could quit having fun, I'm done with it. I did this to have fun and have a good time, and hopefully touch some people's hearts and lives, and share my life through my songs. And when I'm being told that I can't do that, then I don't want to do it anymore. I might as well just do something else. So I'm grateful to be doing what I'm doing.
Oh, hey, listen, I think it's great. That's what I love about independent music is that you have the ability to do whatever you want, and that's what makes the indie scene so diverse is that, you can listen any type of music that's out there is out there, and you're not constrained by people telling you what you can and can't do. And like your song, The Cowboy Dance, and I got to tell you, I hate you for this because I'll be sitting at work and all of a sudden it'll pop in my head, and all I'm doing all day is singing, come on, everybody. I hate him. And
you know what, Phil? You're not the first one that's told me that. I've had a lot of people tell me that all the songs in that CD, that song just sticks with me. And I laugh because, the story behind that song is my mom likes to go dancing when I go home to Western Kentucky, and I like to take Mom out to local bands there. And Roy Henderson, he's a friend of mine who plays with Just Friends there in Mayfield, Kentucky at the American Legion, and Stanley Walker, who's in the rockabilly. He's a local known legend in Grand Rivers, Kentucky, if you look him up. He plays at the Senior Citizen Center a lot. And I take Mom dancing, and I watch these people dance, and they're 70, 80, 90 years old, and they're up there doing their little thing, just like a 16-year-old, a 20-year-old would do. And I'm kind of laughing. I said, I want to do a dance number, I want to write a dance song, kind of like a line dance song. And so I wrote that song. My wife had left to go to Kentucky, and I was by myself, and just me and the cat, because I didn't have a dog at the time. I got a dog now, but at the time I had a cat. And got my keyboard out, and I got this funky beat going on, and, I wrote this lyrics down, and I do this little dance. So I got people, the cool thing about my music, too, is if you get online, I'm on YouTube, you can kind of see how I progress in my musical career to where I am now. And even though it's amateur, it's kind of fun to watch, because you see that. But that Cowboy Dance was written really for my mom, way back when. I had a little dance that goes with it, and yeah, so I appreciate you saying that. And, one of the things, Phil, that I like to do, I've done this a couple times. I'm on songwriters forums and that on Facebook, and I like to meet a lot of people. I'm a people kind of guy, and I'm on that Angels Facebook of Stars. I think Kathy Lucy is the lady that runs that, and there's a lot of artists, independent artists, that put their stuff on there, and I showcase my stuff. Most of it's amateur. I'm just in my bedroom playing or whatever. I like that kind of thing, but I had, on one day, it was on a Saturday, a guy named Sonal Kumar. This guy's out of India. He sends this lyrics, and he prints them online on Facebook, and he says, any artists out there that can make a song out of that? So I downloaded it, and I looked at it, and, out of the blue, I just started, singing, I had the melody, because the lyrics had a kind of a rhythm to it, and he wrote this song called Black Roses, and it came out very well, but this is the coolest thing. It wasn't just a song. It was the fact that I made a new friend in another part of the world. And the same thing with Fox Byers. Fox Byers is a local guy here that does the public speaking. He works for the Somerset baseball team, and he's a teacher, teaches Spanish at Whippany High School here in New Jersey. He has his own podcast, and I was on his podcast not too long ago, and he also is a poet. He's got he does a lot of, he's got a book out that's got nothing but poetry in it. So he sent me this song called A Message from Heaven. And he said, is there anything you can do with that? And it's kind of like Bernie Taupin and Elton John. How they do things. Bernie would write the lyrics and Elton John would do the music.
Yep.
So I took it, and it's a beautiful thing. It was on a Friday afternoon. I will never forget it. And I had a headache, and I come in from work, and I was going to take a nap, and I saw that, and this song popped in my head, A Message from Heaven. And I did it in like 15 minutes, and I sent it to him, and it blew his mind. He said, I can't believe you did it that quick. I said, well, when you get inspired, you got to do it right there, and you forget it. But I said, now, Fox, I got to tell you, I said, I don't sell gospel music. I said, I always promise, God, Jesus, he died on the cross, and, I don't have no problem with that. There's people that sell gospel music, and I'm cool with that, but it's not for me. I said, I'll give it to you. You can do what you want. If you want to sell it, fine. I said, I don't care, but I've always promised I would never do that, and I have got a couple, 3 or 4 gospel songs I've written, but, I'm never going to sell those. If I did make money on it, I would, I'd just give it to charity. I wouldn't, I just don't want to do that. It's just a promise between me and God. I said I would never do that. But this Message from Heaven is a beautiful song, and I don't know. I told him, I said, take it, do what you want with it, So, but I like doing that. I like taking lyrics and taking people's stuff and doing something nice for people. I mean, it's wonderful, and just see those guys light up that, hey, that's their song. That's pretty cool, right?
I have nothing but the best of respect for songwriters because you guys can look at anything out there and come up with a song. I mean, you could look at a dead tree and come up with 6 different songs about that tree, whereas, most people walking past would look and say, yep, dead tree, someone needs to cut it down. But, I mean, you could come up with a song about love, about revenge, about hate, about anything, and I mean, that's something that you're born with. That's an ability. Yeah, you can hone it, but the ability to be a songwriter and come up with a story about something in 3 minutes or less, that's something you're born with, that ability.
Absolutely. And I think, how I write a lot is, very rarely do I get the lyrics and just write the song around lyrics. Usually I get the melody. I hear the in my head, the chords and how the rhythm's got to go. I think most important thing about the song is the rhythm. That rhythm's got to be good, and then what I do is the words just kind of come to me, and it's a beautiful thing. A lot of times I write these lyrics, and I don't even realize I even wrote the song until it's done. I done recorded it, and I'll go back and listen to it, and I said, wow, I did that. That's my song. It's kind of like like the cowboy dance, saying goodbye. It's on the record. My Eyes Are Only on You. That song is written for my wife. She and I was going dance. This was 1998. I wrote that song, and we were going to dance and on the Chattahoochee River on the West Point Lake there in Georgia, right across the line there in LaGrange. There's a little place that we used to go. It's in Alabama, and I wrote that in it had like a little trailer park on the river. It was really cool, and it would have like Saturday night hoedowns, and good times. And I was playing that night, but before we went out, I had a pencil and, I had to sharpen it with a paring knife, kind of thing, and I wrote this thing on the back of the envelope. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but this is true. And I wrote that song and the chord changes, and what a beautiful song, My Eyes Are Only on You. And that song could easily be a wedding song, but I didn't realize, it's one of those songs you don't realize you write, and it's just there, and it's beautiful. And then the song I See You, as I mentioned, was about my daughter, and then Saying Goodbye is about my wife saying goodbye to her mom, as her mom was passed. And then Single Wide Trailer is a fun hillbilly, just honky-tonk kind of song, and it's about the way I grew up. And what a beautiful, it's just a beautiful CD, and I'm just grateful that you like one of the songs on it so well. It really touches my heart.
I like 2 of the songs on there. I also like Single Wide Trailer because that's the song we're going to use when we close out today's interview. We're going to close it out with Single Wide Trailer.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've got to tell you, the people, it's funny, there's not really one song on that CD that really is a winner, because there's a lot of people that come to me and say, I like this song, or this song touches me. And the Single Wide Trailer song seems to be popular amongst some of the younger crowd. The Cowboy Dance is the younger crowd. I See You is probably the middle-aged crowd. My Eyes Are on You is that ballad-type kind of song. And Saying Goodbye is, that's when you're in that low, that song, when you've lost somebody, you're about to lose somebody, and that, a lot of people can relate to that. But the coolest thing, too, Phil, is the fact that all these songs are true and real, and they all tell a story. And, so many songs today, they just thrown together and don't really mean a whole lot. Now, don't get me wrong, I've written some songs like that, too, just kind of put some beat to something and do some words to it. But generally, it comes straight from my heart, and, hopefully it shows through my music.
Well, the great thing about music is it's very personal, and everybody, I mean, that's the best part about music, because you could have three people listen to the same song and it has a different meaning to each person, and that's what makes music so great, is it touches everybody in a different way. And I am just very grateful that you found your passion and you decided to share it with the rest of the world and put all your feelings into paper and then into words. And the one question I was going to ask you, because, everybody always used to tell me, when you have a thought, keep a piece of paper, keep a notepad and a pen right by you. So put it right by your bed. So if something pops in your head in the middle of the night, you can wake up and you could write it down. And I tried doing that. And then in the morning I would look at it and I would realize I can't read Martian. And I can't read hieroglyphics. And I would look and I would think to myself, what in the heck did I just write? And can somebody decipher this for me? Do you ever get that? I mean, if you're dead asleep, all of a sudden a song pops in your head. Do you wake up at that point and write it down, or do you keep a tape recorder right by the bed so you can start singing it when it pops in your head?
It's funny you say that. Sometimes I can write the lyrics down and then I forget the tune, and it absolutely drives me insane when I do that. But do I keep a pad next to me? Not really. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll write like a bullet, like I see if I'm looking at the American flag right now, I'll put flag down in it, and I'll remember that, because I put that one word down. I will, since cell phones are very popular, everybody's got one now, and you don't need a tape recorder, I just sing it to my cell phone, I'll put it on video, and I'll hum the melody, so I don't forget it, because it drives me insane. I've done that before. I'm thinking, well, I'll remember that. Some good thought comes to my mind, or a good song comes, I'll remember that later, and then later never comes, and I lost the song. And so I do a little bit of that. I mean, I don't have a notepad next to my bed, or my cell phone's always there. But if I come across an idea during the day, I'll get off by myself and I'll hum it, and then I'll go home later and I'll take my guitar out. Now, I'm not a great guitar player. I'm taking lessons at Mr. Music in Washington, New Jersey. Lewis Weatherall, he's the owner there, and he helped get Fire on the Wire. Me hooking up the guys on Fire on the Wire, and I appreciate those guys there. I want to give a shout out to that music store. But yeah, I do hum it into my phone or do write it down during the day. But once I do that, I go home and I'll get my guitar out or my keyboard, and that's when I start writing the music to it. But do I just do that all the time? No. I mean, but I try to have it where I can remember it, because that's important. I mean, because I just can't write it. There's times I'll go years I don't write anything. You got to be inspired to do so, and sometimes you can kind of get a writer's block, and it's. I try to force myself to do one song a week, and I just kind of discipline myself to do that. And it's tough because, I'm running a multi-million-dollar business up here in the aggregate business, and a lot of pressures, and you got to be focused on mining. I mean, that's very important. I got an important job. A lot of people depend on me to make good decisions, and you got to keep your eye on the ball, and then you do this stuff on the weekends, and to force yourself sometimes to write is tough. So if you got inspiration, you've got to somehow capture it.
Well, what you're doing with the music, I mean, that's great therapy for you, because you bust your butt all week long. You're under a lot of stress at work, and so it's great therapy, and it's a great outlet for you because, your creative juices start flowing. I guess the worst part about the business is it's a lot of late nights, early mornings, and long weekends. And so when other people are out on the golf course or out laying out at the beach in the summertime relaxing, you're performing. But it's your passion.
You're absolutely right about that, sir. And it is tough because you burn the candle at both ends. If anything worth having in life, you have to work for. You have to sacrifice for. And so you're playing on the weekends or you're writing a song, and it's your passion, so it's what you do. And then of course you got family responsibilities, and I got 2 daughters and a wife that needs my time too. And it's tough. So you're absolutely right.
It is tough, and, so which is why you have to have the support of your family getting into this. Otherwise, it's never going to work. And so as long as your wife and your kids are behind you 100% and they're encouraging you and they're along for this journey with you, then it's all it makes it all worthwhile, and it makes it so much better. And you're doing it for the right reasons, because, like I said, there's so many people that get
Phil,
into it for the wrong one.
I agree with you 100%, and I just want to say about my wife and kids, they did something very special for me. At Christmas time this year, I got these little picks. It's got, on the pick, it says, "Follow your dreams." It's got a picture of me in front of an old truck and an apple orchard, which is pretty cool. And then my daughter bought me for for Father's Day, she bought me a pair of cowboy boots, because I didn't have any cowboy boots, and it's got UK on them. And she said, because of the music thing. And then last night, this is so cool, they got me a T-shirt and like a sweatshirt kind of thing that had Fire on the Wire on the front of it, and it just touched me so much that your family supporting you, and my kids aren't musically inclined. My wife can barely turn on the radio. My one daughter tried piano lessons, and I really want her to learn it, but I can't force my dreams on my kids. I want them to have their own dreams. But they do support me, and they love me, and it's a wonderful thing. You're absolutely right.
Quick question. I got one question for you before we let you go, because like I said, when I talked to you earlier, I told you this is the fastest hour you will ever experience. What was it like the very first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
The very first time I heard one of my songs on the radio, I about cried, to be honest. And the person really who did my song on the radio was Colin Kerr, the Big Link Radio here in Patterson, New Jersey. He does DJing on the side, and he's a supervisor, one of the quarries I have. And he did play the first song, and that's kind of like an alternative kind of radio station. They play all kinds of music, gospel, rock, country, rap. I mean, they play all kinds of stuff. And then you got the first country music station, though, that really played my music was My Kind of Country. It was on internet radio, and when I heard that, which I got video of that. I just happened to be listening, and he said he was going to play it that night, and I was watching it, and I got it and taped it, and it's wonderful. I can't explain it. It's the euphoria, and I'm so grateful and thankful for even being, for you taking the time today to interview me, and it's just wonderful. You're helping me live a dream, and for all the fans out there who support me, and I've sold a few records. I ain't setting the world on fire, but hopefully they'll buy a few more so I can finish the album up. And my wife, I got to sell enough before I go back to Nashville. She won't let me finish it up until I sell enough records. So please buy a few of you. So yeah, I'm grateful and thankful. But yeah, I just about cried, to be honest. And when I hear it on the radio, there's times I get emotional because I'm hearing and living a dream, and that's wonderful.
Well, see, I've got my own version of the green room. So when I call somebody, I always put them on hold when their song is playing. Yeah, that's my version of the green room. And I've always wondered, because you're on hold and you're listening to yourself singing, and I never have that experience. I can't sing. If I tried singing, it would sound like two cats in heat. And if I tried playing the guitar, I tried learning how to play the guitar. I found my fingers don't work the way they're supposed to, and I couldn't write a song. If I did, it would, be my dog has fleas or something like that. And so I live vicariously through you. You don't mind, do you? I'm sure. And I just think it's so cool what you're doing. And I'm not talented, which is why I'm on this end of the microphone and you're on the other end, because you actually have a talent. So, but I wish you nothing but the most success. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope all your dreams come true, and that everything that you're striving for comes true, and that you get to live. You're already living the dream, but I hope that everything that you are looking to attain, you attain. And if somebody wants to find out more about you, if they want to find out where you're going to be performing, they want to find out more of your history, or they want to get your music, how do they go about finding out about you?
Well, I do have a website. It's real simple. It's www.arnoldconnelly.com, and my last name is CONNELLY.com. And on that, it has the 5 songs on there, and I give them the full song. It's a sample, so they can listen to it. If they don't want to buy it, they can at least listen to it online. I understand that. And on that, there's also a link to my YouTube page, and it's all my amateur stuff that I've done, and it kind of gives you a glimpse to my family as well. I'm also on Facebook. You can look up Arnold Connelly on Facebook. And then for promotion and booking shows and all that kind of thing, I've been using LaDonna with Summer Sky Music Group out of Nashville, and LaDonna is 615-879-4897. That's out of Nashville. And so, you know, and as far as the next couple shows coming up, believe it or not, I'm playing Applebee's and with Fire on the Wire on October the 27th on a Friday night from 8 to 11 in Flemington, New Jersey. So come out and see us if you're in New Jersey. And then on November 11th, we're doing a charity show at the local VFW there in Washington, New Jersey for the veterans. And that's always a good time. Always have fun doing that. And so, yeah, I'm living a dream. And thank you, Phil, for inviting me onto your show today.
Well, feel free to, anywhere you're going to be performing or whatever, feel free to link it onto my page so that everybody knows where you're at, and hopefully, you know, maybe one or two more people will show up.
Well, absolutely. And you know, if you want to, I didn't mention, if you want to purchase my album, you can do it, or my record, I said album too, record, you can go to cdbaby.com, or you can even, you know, if you want to, I'm on Amazon now. When you go on these things, I did a cheap amateur album called Cut and Paste, and it's got a bunch of songs on there where I just took off my video and put on a record called Cut and Paste. So two of the songs, The Cowboy Dance and My Eyes Are On You, are on that first record, so be careful when you can go to buy it. The Nashville album is different, and so if you Google me, you can also Google me. I mean, if you Google me, I'm all over the place, so you can kind of see my professional on the mining side as well as the music side.
Well, listen, I hope that this is not this won't be the first and last time that we talk. I hope you'll come on again, because you are a friend of the show, and you're welcome on any time. And I look forward to having you on again, because there's still more questions that I wasn't able to ask you. So next time we talk, we'll be able to follow up and just pick up from where we left off. And just so you know, we will be rebroadcasting this show tonight in its entirety at 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time, WAAKradio.com to listen live on your computer, or Google Simple Radio app, type in WAAK to listen live on your smartphone or your tablet, and immediately following the show, it will be on our podcast. And you get to the podcast, go to WAAKradio.com, scroll down to the Blackdog Morning Tile, and today's show and shows for, I think, the last couple of months are up on there. So you can listen at your heart's content, at your leisure, or leisure, whichever you prefer. And Wednesday is New Music Wednesday. That's the day we showcase new independent artists. And at 8 o'clock, I will be joined by Debbie Kelly. We played her song was the first one we played today, Cowboy Rock and Roll. So she's got a great sound, and I think you're going to enjoy listening to what she has to say. So until then, we're going to close this out with your song, Single Wide Trailer. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Phil, so much.
Oh, and happy birthday. I hope you have a great day today.
Thank you, sir.
And this is Single Wide Trailer, Arnold Connelly, Blackdog Morning Show. Be good, be safe, God bless, and have a great day, everyone.
Trailer with a bucket of beer, a lawn chair in the yard. Don't take much to live around here with an old dog and a car. So if you ain't all that, just get out of here before you take it way too far. Way too far. In my single wide trailer with a bucket of beer and a lawn chair in the yard. Slow. We like it hot, and we don't like it hot. And down on an acre lot. Yeah, in a single wide trailer with a bucket of beer, a long chair in the yard. Well, we're knocking them back like the end of the year. We got a bonfire in the yard. So if you ain't all that, just get out of here before you take it way too far. Way too far. A single wide trailer with a bucket of beer and a long chair in the yard. Woo! Trailer with a bucket of beer, a long chair